everyone, it's Katrina. What do a mysterious alien creature on the Space Shuttle, a glowing city captured by the Hubble Telescope, and a giant lifeboat found on the most remote island on Earth have in common? They are all real stories that have left scientists and internet sleuths scratching their heads. From claims of heaven photographed in deep space to an alleged soul catcher on the moon, these aren't your typical space mysteries. Get ready, because space is a lot stranger than you think. The face on Jupiter. Jupiter might be messing with us from 484 million miles away. NASA's Juno spacecraft recently captured something wild in its latest flyby. A swirling face in the clouds that looks like it's screaming. That's right, Jupiter just revealed its spooky side like a cosmic jump scare. Who knew the gas giant had a theatrical streak? This strange discovery happened on September 7th, 2023, when Juno zipped past a stormy zone near Jupiter's North Pole known as Jet N7. From just 4,800 miles above the planet's massive cloud tops, the spacecraft snapped a photo showing churning storms and twisted cloud formations, and smack in the middle of it all, a face. Not a smiley face, not even a grumpy one. We're talking ghostly eyes, a warped mouth, and a general haunting your dreams kind of vibe. But before you start building alien conspiracy theories, let's break it down. What we're seeing is a classic case of pareidolia, when our brains spot familiar shapes and faces in random patterns. You've probably done it a million times without even realizing it. Ever thought the clouds looked like a dog, or the moon seemed to be watching you? That's pareidolia working its magic. And this isn't the first time space has pulled this trick. In 1976, NASA's Viking 1 spacecraft snapped a photo on Mars that looked just like a giant stone face. People instantly wondered, was it an ancient alien statue? Some lost civilization? Spoiler alert, it was just a weird-shaped hill. Later missions showed the face in sharper detail, and surprise, surprise, it looked nothing like a face anymore. Maybe those aliens weren't very good sculptors after all. So how did this Jupiter photo come to be? A citizen scientist named Vladimir Tarasov processed the raw image data using NASA's Juno cam tools, and voila! A creepy masterpiece was born. NASA actually encourages the public to dig into their raw image library and experiment. Want to try your hand at spotting space monsters or alien emojis in the clouds? Go for it! If you see anything you can't explain, drop it in the comments below or send me a DM. The Ring of Haumea. Far beyond the sun and the crushing abyssal dark beyond Neptune, something unusual is spinning, and fast. It's not a spaceship, it's not an alien disco ball, and it's definitely not Pluto. It's called Haumea. It's an egg-shaped, super speedy dwarf planet with something that no other dwarf planet has. A ring. That's right. This thing has a ring just like Saturn, but smaller, weirder, and way more mysterious. So what exactly is Haumea, and how did it become one of the coolest underdogs in our solar system? Let's rewind a bit. Haumea lives in the Kuiper Belt, a far-off stretch of icy space rubble where Pluto and a few other dwarf planets orbit the sun. It was first spotted in 2003 and was officially named after the Hawaiian goddess of childbirth and fertility. Its two moons, Namaka and Haiaka, are named after Haumea's daughters. Now, Haumea doesn't look like your average planet. It's shaped more like a squashed football than a smooth sphere. Why? Because it spins really fast. So fast, in fact, that a single day there lasts only 3.9 hours. That rapid spinning stretched its body out, giving it its odd shape. Imagine if Earth spun that fast. We would all be walking sideways. But Haumea's speed might be the key to its most jaw-dropping feature, its ring. In 2017, scientists were watching Haumea pass in front of a distant star using telescopes across Europe. They were hoping to learn more about its size and shape. Instead, they caught something crazy. A thin, icy ring circling Haumea like a cosmic hula hoop about 1,400 miles from its equator. Talk about an unexpected bonus. Where did the ring come from? One idea is that something crashed into Haumea and kicked up debris. Another theory is that the dwarf planet's insane spin may have flung chunks of its own surface into space, where they eventually formed a ring. Either way, this makes Haumea the only known dwarf planet and the only trans-Neptunian object with a ring. That's pretty epic for a little egg-shaped planet. Is it possible that other tiny worlds out there have rings too? Scientists now think so. Haumea isn't done showing off just yet. It has 2 moons, a rocky core covered in shiny water, ice, and a mysterious red spot. What is it? Nobody can say for sure. It could be minerals, organics, or something else entirely. Any ideas? Let me know in the comments. And now for a quick break because it's shout-out time. I want to give a big thank you to Sandra Danforth and James R. for supporting this channel. We wouldn't be here without you guys. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already for more videos like this. The Black Knight Satellite. Picture this, a mysterious black object floating silently above Earth, watching us, maybe even judging us. Welcome to the strange tale of the Black Knight Satellite, a story packed with mystery, science, lost blankets, aliens, and maybe even the Illuminati. So what is the Black Knight Satellite exactly? Well, it depends on who you ask. Some believe it's a 13,000-year-old alien probe sent to spy on humanity. Others say it's just space junk with a really good PR team. The legend of this thing first caught public attention in 2017, when a UK tabloid reported that the Illuminati had shot down an alien satellite. Yep, you heard me. They claimed that elite soldiers took down a piece of extraterrestrial tech that had been hovering over Earth since before the invention of the wheel. Isn't that wild? But just wait, the story goes back much further. Let's rewind to 1899, when inventor Nikola Tesla picked up weird radio signals he thought might be from intelligent life. Could it have been a signal from the Black Knight? Some say yes. Others, however, argue that Tesla might have just been hearing interference from Earth or distant stars. But the mystery only deepened in the 1920s. That's when a Norwegian engineer named Jorgen Hals noticed that his radio transmissions were bouncing back to him, with a delay of several seconds. These long-delayed echoes have no clear cause even today. Now, that's strange, but is it proof of alien tech? Not really. Still, the idea of a silent satellite up there sending and receiving messages caught the imagination of UFO enthusiasts. And then came 1998, when NASA released photos taken during the STS-88 Space Shuttle mission. The images showed a strange black angular object orbiting Earth. To conspiracy theorists, it was jackpot time. They were sure it had to be the Black Knight. Finally, it was caught on camera. But according to NASA, the object was actually a thermal blanket? Yep, seriously. A space blanket that slipped out of an astronaut's hands during a spacewalk. Astronaut Jerry Ross and his crew were working on the International Space Station using blankets to cover exposed metal so it wouldn't lose heat. Apparently, one of the blankets floated away and was photographed while drifting in orbit. NASA even tracked it and confirmed that it eventually burned up in Earth's atmosphere. So that should have been the end of the story, right? Not even close. People still believe. Even though former NASA engineer James Oberg explained every detail of how and why that blanket floated off, people want to believe it's something more. After all, it looks pretty weird in those pictures. Some folks even claim that NASA scrubbed the photos from its website, which only fanned the flames of conspiracy. Because obviously, if you delete a photo, it must be a cover-up. The story got even more tangled when writers like Duncan Lunan suggested that those long-delayed radio echoes might be messages from a Bracewell probe. What the heck is that? Well, it's an alien robot designed to wait quietly in orbit until humans are smart enough to say hello. Lunan later clarified that he didn't connect this theory to the Black Knight, but by then, internet sleuths had already merged the stories together like a jigsaw puzzle. The emergence of genuine UFO investigations, such as the U.S. military's Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, increased public receptiveness to the idea of unexplainable phenomena observing us from above. This shift occurred after military pilots filmed strange aerial objects, further fueling speculation. So here's the big question. Could the Black Knight really be an alien satellite? Or is it just a perfect storm of misunderstood science, spooky photos, and human imagination gone wild? Ask yourself, why do we want to believe in the Black Knight? Is it because it's more interesting than a floating blanket? Is it because deep down we hope someone or something is out there paying attention to us? Or maybe, just maybe, we're not alone. The Soul Catcher. If you had a story passed down through generations of your family, would you automatically believe it? What if that story made you question everything you've been taught? Would you trust science or your family? What if the moon isn't just a big rock orbiting Earth, but a soul-harvesting machine run by ancient extraterrestrials? It sounds wild, right? But strap in, because this theory is as mind-bending as sci-fi gets. And it all starts with a mysterious shadow and a strange family legacy linked to the stars. Back in 2001, the Space Shuttle Atlantis blasted off just after sunset, heading toward the International Space Station. The skies were lit up with stunning colors, but one image caught everyone off guard. What was it? A long, dark shadow stretched from the shuttle's glowing exhaust trail all the way to the full moon near the horizon. It looked like a laser beam aimed at the moon. But how could something so dark shoot from something so bright and hit the moon, no less? Was it just a trick of the light or something more? Some say this eerie shadow looked exactly like what a soul being launched to Earth might look like. That is, of course, if you believe there is a soul shooter on the moon. And that's where the real story begins. Now let me introduce you to a man named Gunther. Gunther, according to the author of this story, Raellen Allen, is a man with deep connections to strange knowledge. He told stories passed down through his family, the ancient Hungarian Esterházys. And based on their lore, the Esterházys weren't just nobles. They were descendants of star travelers from the Sirius system. Think Star Trek, but with powdered wigs and Hungarian castles. Their world, according to Gunther, was destroyed long ago, so they packed up and set off to colonize Earth. However, they didn't travel in their physical bodies. Nope, they stripped off their flesh and jetted off in style in nothing but their soul suits. But there was a catch. Earth was under quarantine by a powerful cosmic organization called the Planetary Federation. Basically, there was a giant "Do Not Disturb" sign on the planet. Earth was being used for a mysterious breeding experiment, and nobody was allowed to interfere. But the souls from Sirius found a loophole. Now this is where it gets truly insane. According to the story, they built a structure on the moon, part machine, part getaway, that acted as a kind of spiritual slingshot. Souls would travel from the sun, where they temporarily resided, to the moon and then zap, shoot down to Earth to inhabit human bodies. When a soul finishes its life on Earth, it could return through a reverse process involving, drumroll please, the Great Pyramid of Giza. Yeah, the pyramid wasn't just a fancy tomb. As the theory goes, it was equipped with electricity, mineral brine, and some seriously advanced alien tech. When the stars and moon aligned, a soul could be atomized and blasted back to the moon, where it would be caught by the lunar soul catcher and returned to the Federation. So what happened next? Well, apparently things took a dark turn. UFO conspiracy theorist John Lear claimed that this soul-catching device on the moon had been hijacked. Instead of helping souls return home, it was trapping them, enslaving them for reasons he couldn't explain. Maybe someone or something figured out how to use the system to feed off souls, control reincarnation, or just cause galactic mischief. And here's the spooky part. That shadow from the Atlantis launch, it looked exactly like what Gunther described, a visual signature of a soul being shot toward the moon. Could it be coincidence? Or did the world unknowingly witness an ancient soul exchange in action? Of course, scientists have a more grounded explanation. According to physicist Robert Greenler, the mysterious shadow was just an anti-crepuscular ray. That was kind of hard to say. This is a fancy term for a shadow caused by the rocket plume, stretching across the sky and lining up with the full moon by pure chance. It's a known optical effect, like how clouds cast sunbeams at sunset. But what are the odds that it would look exactly like a beam from Earth to the moon? So, is the moon just a dead rock? Or is it the ultimate soul traffic controller? Could our souls be trapped in a cosmic game of capture the flag? What do you think? Is this just a crazy, fun theory that would make a great sci-fi book? Or could there really be an ancient group of alien souls living among us? Einstein's craziest theory. What if space wasn't the final frontier, but the final aquarium? Imagine blasting off into the cosmos expecting silence, darkness, and stars, only to smack face first into a wall of water. Not just any water, but an endless cosmic ocean stretching in every direction. It might sound ridiculous, but would you give it any more thought if I told you that this theory was supported by none other than Albert Einstein? According to the theory, outer space isn't a cold, empty void at all. It's wet, full of water, and maybe even hiding the biggest secret about our planet. So what's really going on above our heads? And why does it seem like no one wants us to know? For over a century, space agencies and movie studios have painted the same old picture. Outer space is black, vast, and completely dry. But have you ever noticed that astronauts never seem to venture too far from Earth anymore? Besides that grainy, hard-to-watch footage from that 1969 moon landing, which some still argue was faked, we've never really seen humans go beyond low Earth orbit. Why stop so short when we've got the tech to go farther than ever? Here's where the theory dives deep. Some believe that NASA and others don't want people to find out what is really beyond the sky. According to this idea, if you could travel high enough, past the atmosphere and through the exosphere, you wouldn't drift into space. You would hit water. Lots of it. An entire ocean of it. And floating in that ocean, a flat, endless Earth, surrounded by secrets no one wants uncovered. Even Einstein once tossed around the idea that space might be made of water. Sure, scientists didn't exactly back him up on that, but hey, it's not like anyone can prove what space is made from down here. We've been told Earth spins at 1,000 miles per hour and that gravity holds us down. But how many of us have actually gone up there to check? It's kind of hard. And here is something NASA has admitted. Water vapor does exist in space. In 2009, they detected massive clouds of it near distant stars. According to science, those clouds could form oceans. So, are there already oceans up there? Let's talk about protostars, baby stars that are still forming in space. Researchers found one in the Perseus constellation, only about 100,000 years old. Using infrared tech, they discovered its surrounding cloud is packed with hydrogen and oxygen. You know, the two ingredients for water. And here's the wild part. Those stars shoot out jets of water from their poles like high-powered sprinklers. The droplets turn to vapor from heat, then back into water as they drift into colder space. Multiply that by millions of stars, and suddenly the idea of a space ocean doesn't sound so far-fetched. So what do you think? Is the sky above us just a dome hiding an interstellar fish tank? The rogue planet with auroras. When God said, "Let there be light," this planet definitely got the memo. Imagine a planet floating through space completely alone. No sun to orbit, no cozy solar system to call home, just a dark, freezing cosmic drifter. Well, this is a real planet called SIMP J01365 blah blah blah. Don't ask me why the name is so long and confusing. I didn't name it. It's a bizarre rogue object 20 light years from Earth that is blowing scientists' minds. So what makes this wandering space weirdo so special? For starters, it has auroras like the northern lights on Earth, but way bigger, brighter, and more mysterious. It shouldn't even have them. Without a star blasting solar wind to spark those light shows, how are they even happening? That's the million-dollar question. Now let's talk power, specifically magnetic power. SIMP, we'll call it that for short, has a magnetic field over 200 times stronger than Jupiter's. And Jupiter already makes Earth's magnetism look like a weak fridge magnet. Let that sink in for a minute. This makes SIMP one of the most magnetically powerful objects ever discovered outside a star. Scientists are still scratching their heads over how it does this. What kind of cosmic engine is running inside that thing? And things only get weirder. Originally, astronomers thought SIMP was just another boring brown dwarf, a kind of failed star that didn't get big enough to start nuclear fusion. But newer data revealed a twist. SIMP is not only younger than expected, just 200 million years old, basically a baby in space terms, it's also smaller, just under the size limit to be called a star. That makes it a planet-sized object. Not quite a planet, not quite a star, like the ultimate cosmic misfit. If space had a rebel without a cause, this would be it. And what about those wild auroras? Scientists detected them using radio waves. That means that in the future, we might be able to discover other rogue planets by listening for their magnetic light shows instead of just looking through telescopes. How cool is that? So what exactly is SIMP? A planet? A failed star? A magnetic alien lighthouse? Nobody knows for sure. but it's teaching us that even the loneliest objects in space can still shine in the most spectacular ways. Space snakes. There couldn't possibly be creatures living in the vacuum of space, right? Well, maybe there are. At least that's what astronaut Franklin Story Musgrave claims. According to him, out there in the total darkness, swimming in zero gravity beside the stars, are snakes. NASA astronaut Musgrave spent over 1,200 hours in space over his career. He had no reason to lie about what he saw up there, and yet the majority of his coworkers and higher-ups dismissed his claims. Why? I don't know. Maybe because they knew it would freak us all out? What exactly did he see? During his impressive 6 space missions, Musgrave performed numerous spacewalks and saw his fair share of space debris. But during 2 different missions, something caught his eye. Something that moved like a snake, twisting and turning as if swimming through the vacuum of space. Was it alive? Was it alien? Or was it just floating space junk? Musgrave couldn't be sure. All he knew was what he saw. He described the snake as being about 7 to 8 feet long, rubbery, and full of internal waves, almost like it had a mind of its own. He even said it followed him for a while. Can you imagine? He later admitted that it might have been something ordinary, like a rubber seal that broke loose from the spacecraft. After all, once you're in zero gravity, even a chunk of metal can float and twist in weird, hypnotic ways. And let's be honest, space is full of strange bits and pieces. Ice chips, gas, tools, and old gloves. But a slithering space snake? That is next level bizarre. NASA wasn't exactly thrilled when Musgrave started sharing these stories in interviews and documentaries. Why? Because he never reported it officially at the time. Whoops! Still, Musgrave stuck to his story. He wasn't claiming it was an alien life form, but he was saying it was something he couldn't explain. So, what do you think? Was it just drifting space debris doing its best snake impression? Or did Musgrave glimpse something truly unknown? Let me know what you believe in the comments below, and while you're at it, hit that subscribe button. The truth of ancient Mars. Long before Elon Musk dreamed of sending humans to Mars, the CIA may have already visited, just not in the way you'd expect. In 1984, the CIA did something strange. Really strange. In a top-secret experiment under Project Stargate, a classified US government program that trained psychic spies, they decided to look at Mars. But not with telescopes or satellites. They use a technique called remote viewing, where a person tries to mentally travel across space and time. Yeah, it's a real thing. In this experiment, a subject, whose name was kept secret, was handed a sealed envelope with a set of coordinates. He didn't open it, and instead, the experiment began with him closing his eyes and projecting his mind to wherever those coordinates led. His destination? Mars. 1 million years ago. So what did he see? At first, he described massive dust storms and rough terrain, but then things got weirder. He saw pyramids, not little sand castles, huge ancient structures that reminded him of the pyramids in Egypt. But wait, Mars isn't supposed to have monuments, right? Well, according to the subject, not only were there buildings, there were also giant people. As in really tall, thin beings walking around in odd, form-fitting clothing. These beings weren't out for a casual stroll. It seemed like they were in trouble. The subject said that their world was falling apart. The atmosphere was crumbling, deadly storms were raging. Their once great civilization was vanishing, and they knew it. Some of them were hiding in the pyramids for safety. Others were getting ready to leave, but where could they possibly escape to? According to the psychic, they were planning to travel a very long distance to find a new home. Earth, perhaps? Could these tall Martians be connected to ancient humans? Is that why our ancestors suddenly developed advanced knowledge like pyramid building and astronomy? And get this, the subject also mentioned a long road leading to an obelisk, a structure that suspiciously looks like the tall stone monuments we see in places like ancient Egypt. Was that just a coincidence? Or did Earth and Mars once share a secret connection? Project Stargate was full of strange experiments like this. Remote viewing, telepathy, mind-bending missions. The government officially shut it down in 1995. They claimed that the results of these experiments were not reliable. But here's the thing, this Mars mission was buried in CIA files for years, and now it's declassified. That means that someone thought it was important enough to hide for decades. So what does this all mean? Did an ancient Martian civilization really exist? Did they escape to Earth? Or is this just the mind's imagination running wild under strange conditions? That's up to you to decide. But think about this. Why did the CIA invest time and money into psychic experiments in the first place? Why did they ask someone to view Mars in the past? And why are we only hearing about this now? Maybe the truth is still out there somewhere, buried in red dust, hidden in pyramids, or even sitting right beneath our feet. If Mars had a civilization 1,000,000 years ago, what do you think happened to it? And are we next? White holes. In the cosmic kitchen of the universe, black holes are the ultimate devourers. They're massive beasts that gobble up stars, light, and anything else that gets too close. But what if the universe also cooked up something completely opposite? Something that doesn't swallow matter, but instead spits it out in a wild, unexplained burst. Ever heard of a white hole? These are the universe's version of a cosmic sneeze. They sound strange, but are they impossible? Not according to Einstein's equations. Now, let's back up. We all know about black holes. But according to Einstein's math, there might be another kind of hole lurking in space. One that doesn't pull things in, but pushes them out, like a rewind button on the universe. And it gets stranger. White holes were first imagined as a kind of time-flipped black hole. Think of it this way. If a black hole is like a cosmic vacuum cleaner, then a white hole is like a cosmic leaf blower. You can't enter it, but stuff from inside can burst out, uninvited and unexplained. But how do scientists even know these things exist? It all started with Einstein's equations back in 1915. They didn't just describe gravity, they completely redefined space and time. The math suggested that space could twist and bend and that extreme mass could warp reality itself. 1 year later, Carl Schwarzschild ran some calculations. He found that if you squeeze enough mass into a small enough space, you would get a singularity, an infinitely dense point. That's your classic black hole. Fast forward to 1960, when a mathematician named Martin David Kruskal took Schwarzschild's work further and accidentally stumbled onto something weird. The math not only described black holes, but also hinted at a mirror image, a region where instead of things falling in, stuff gets flung out. He didn't call it a white hole at the time, but the seed was planted. So what did Kruskal's mathematical discovery actually imply for the universe? Imagine a spaceship flying past what looks like a black hole, dark, massive, maybe even surrounded by swirling gas. But then, instead of pulling the gas in, it suddenly belches it out. That's when you realize you're not looking at a black hole at all. You're witnessing a white hole in action. But the thing is, no one's ever seen one. They're still purely theoretical, though some physicists think white holes might be connected to black holes in a bizarre way, like two ends of the same tunnel. Could a white hole be the final stage of a black hole? Could everything that falls into a black hole eventually come out of a white hole somewhere else in the universe? Heaven captured on camera. What if the most powerful telescope ever launched into space accidentally pointed straight into the afterlife? That's exactly what some people believe happened in 1994, when a bizarre and mysterious photo began circulating, one that many claimed showed nothing less than heaven itself, floating in the middle of space. It all began with a strange rumor. NASA's Hubble Space Telescope had captured an image so incredible, so unbelievable, that it was immediately hidden from the public. But according to an anonymous researcher and a now infamous article in Weekly World News, someone leaked it anyway. The photo, they said, revealed a glowing white city suspended in the blackness of space. Shining towers, ethereal structures, and a mysterious beauty that didn't look natural. It looked divine. Was this heaven? Actual heaven? Could a telescope really snap a picture of paradise? That's exactly what scientist Dr. Masson believed. In the article, she argued that this mysterious floating city couldn't be a planet, a star, or any normal object you'd expect in the cosmos. It was in the vacuum of space, where no human or alien, for that matter, could survive. So what else could it be but a divine creation? According to her, this wasn't just an incredible picture, it was proof. NASA had something to say about this, right? Well, actually, they didn't. Not a single official comment. No cover-up, they stayed totally silent, which only made the mystery grow online. Why wouldn't they deny it? Why wouldn't they clear things up? Was it because the photo was fake? Or because it was too real? It's always really lose-lose for NASA. Naturally, not everyone bought the story. Many critics pointed out that Weekly World News was known for, let's say, creative storytelling. UFO babies, Elvis sightings, you name it. So was the Heavenly City just another headline made to sell papers? Some skeptics noted that the image could have been a clever edit, a cosmic cloud formation, or just pure imagination. But here's the thing. Real or not, the story stuck. Decades later, people are still wondering, could heaven be a place in space? Could our greatest scientific instruments accidentally stumble upon the divine? Or are we just so hungry for meaning that we will see angels in a nebula and palaces in stardust? Let me know what you think. The alien on the space shuttle. Not every space story starts with a countdown and a rocket launch. Some begin with a mystery floating silently outside a shuttle window. While orbiting Earth aboard the space shuttle Atlantis, former NASA astronaut Leland Melvin spotted something that didn't belong. It wasn't a satellite, it wasn't a tool, it looked alive. Translucent, curved, and eerily organic, the strange object left him rattled enough to call mission control. Was it an alien? A space jellyfish? Let's find out. Melvin, who racked up over 500 hours in orbit, didn't spill this story right away. In fact, he waited until 2018 to casually drop the bombshell in a post on X. When someone asked if he'd ever seen a UFO during his missions, he surprised everyone with a very alienish answer. What did he see? According to Melvin, he spotted something floating in the shuttle's payload bay, which is basically the giant trunk of the spaceship. So naturally, Melvin radioed back to Mission Control with a concerned, what is that? The official explanation? Ice. Specifically, ice that had broken off from something called a Freon hose. Unless you're a spacecraft engineer, don't worry about the specifics. Just know that it cools things down. Ice might not sound terrifying, but when you are 200 miles above Earth and something weird floats by your window, your brain doesn't exactly think, oh good, space snow. Melvin admitted that he almost said the dreaded words, Houston, we have a problem. But he knew better. Those words have a way of making everyone on the ground hit the panic button. So he stayed calm and trusted the team. Still, wouldn't you keep side-eyeing that mystery blob just in case? What's really strange is that Melvin never said which mission this happened on, or even when. Maybe it was a one-time thing, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it really was just ice, or maybe it wasn't. So what do you think floated past the shuttle that day? Just frozen water, or something more curious?
Thanks for watching! Be sure to stay tuned for extra content you might have missed.
The future of Earth and humanity. It's pretty likely that at some point the world is going to end. Whether or not humanity survives until that point remains to be seen. But if we are still around, our existence will undoubtedly end when the world does. Unless we identify another planet that can support life, and we can somehow manage to get there first. So when exactly will this all happen, and how can we expect the future to unfold? Well, over the next several 100 million years, comets, asteroids, supernova explosions, and other random celestial events could cause mass extinctions on Earth. These are less predictable than other things that scientists foresee happening, including intermittent glacial periods and the formation of a supercontinent. Things will start to get ugly in about 600 million years, when the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere drops too low to support photosynthesis, causing all plant life to die off. Naturally, animal life will follow. In roughly 1 billion years, the oceans will evaporate, bringing the carbon cycle to an end. Within 4 billion years, a runaway greenhouse effect will heat the Earth's surface to high enough temperatures to melt it. By then, all life will be extinct anyway. When the sun becomes a red giant in about 5 billion years, the planet will be completely scorched. It's hard to say for sure when the Earth will become uninhabitable for humans, but it's something experts are already trying to plan for, especially as human activity speeds up the destruction of the planet. In fact, if climate change continues along its current trajectory, some parts of the world may be incapable of hosting human life by the year 2500. Of course, none of us will be around when any of these catastrophic events take place, but it's up to us and our future generations to do something about it. The search is on for an alternative living space, namely a planet that people could live on and that isn't too far away for us to get to. So far, experts have identified several planets with seemingly Earth-like qualities, but they have yet to determine whether there is one out there that has the very specific properties it takes to support oxygen-breathing life forms. This all reminds me of the show The 100. Did any of you watch that? Did you like it? Let me know in the comments below. What is dark matter? Only a small percentage of the universe is made up of things we can actually observe, like planets, stars, asteroids, and galaxies. Researchers believe that around a quarter of the universe consists of dark matter, a substance that the human eye can't see and we don't fully understand. We literally don't even know what it is. According to one theory, dark matter holds fast-moving galaxies together, acting as a sort of spider web. So much of it exists that it bends the appearance of space, causing galaxies to look distorted to the scientists who observe them. Some galaxies are made almost entirely of dark matter. One of them, called Dragonfly 44, is roughly the size of the Milky Way and is 99.9% made up of the substance. Dark matter doesn't emit light or energy, so how do scientists know it's there? According to Yale researcher Peter Van Dokkum, the movement of the stars tells experts how much matter is in the universe. Based on that, they know that there are things they just can't see. Evidence strongly suggests that dark matter is a real thing, but researchers have yet to identify it. Some think that it's a yet undiscovered particle, while others theorize that it's a gravitational property that we don't yet know about. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. What is dark energy and where does it come from? Speaking of matter, what's the difference between dark energy and dark matter? Dark matter is thought to make up 25% of the universe, while observable matter makes up about 5%. Scientists believe that the remaining 70% consists of something called dark energy. Unlike dark matter, which seems to hold galaxies together, dark energy pushes things apart. It's believed to be responsible for the fact that the universe is expanding much faster than it should be. In 1998, scientists observed distant supernovae using the Hubble Space Telescope. They realized that in the distant past, the universe was expanding more slowly than it is now. This ran contrary to their theory that gravity would slow the expansion and eventually stop the universe from getting bigger. They knew something must be causing this accelerated growth and termed this mysterious force as dark energy. Much like dark matter, nobody knows what it is or how it works, but it goes against our understanding of how the universe should work based on physics. Dark energy has the opposite effect of gravity, which pulls things toward each other, and the two seem to be entangled in a tug of war. During the early stages of the universe's existence, gravity was the dominant force that influenced its structure. This enabled stars, galaxies, and galaxy clusters to form. But instead of slowing down as the laws of physics would normally dictate, something caused the expansion of the universe to speed up sometime between 3 and 7 billion years ago. And it's been accelerating ever since, proving that dark energy has a bigger influence than gravity. There are several ongoing projects seeking to explain what dark energy is and how it works. So we'll just have to wait and see what they find. The Fermi Paradox. The vastness of the universe is incomprehensible, and it's getting bigger every day. Thinking about it from the perspective of sheer size alone, it's hard for many to believe that Earth is the only place where there is life. But scientists have yet to find evidence of life elsewhere, even though the possibility seems highly probable. This is what's known as the Fermi Paradox. It's named after the Italian-American physicist Enrico Fermi, who asked, "Where is everybody?" while discussing recent UFO sightings with colleagues in 1950. Experts have come up with a few possible explanations for the Fermi Paradox. The most favored theory holds that intelligent extraterrestrial beings are extremely rare, and that it's unlikely that two of these civilizations would ever meet. The Milky Way alone contains billions of stars that are similar to the Sun. At least some of them have planets in what's known as the circumstellar habitable zone, which is the distance from the star where a planet could support liquid water with the right atmospheric pressure. And some of these stars and their planets are much older than the Sun. suggesting that they could have harbored intelligent life long ago. Perhaps these civilizations developed interstellar travel and visited Earth. Or maybe the Fermi paradox is wrong. For example, some people simply don't believe that there is life on other planets, or that if it does exist, it's incredibly rare. Others think that even if life exists elsewhere, intelligence may not. It's also possible that life on other planets is frequently wiped out by extinction events, which have happened here on Earth. There are numerous other proposed explanations, including the possibility that any existing intelligent civilizations may still be in their primitive stages and aren't technologically advanced enough to communicate outside their planet. Or perhaps other existing life forms are completely capable of making contact with our planet, and they are just choosing not to. What do you think about this? Do you believe in extraterrestrial beings? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already to join the Origins Explained family. Is there a multiverse? Scientists have explored less than 0.1% of our vast universe, and yet we've already begun to wonder what could be beyond it, if anything. One possibility, known as the multiverse theory, suggests that the universe is just one of many, all which have their own galaxies, stars, and laws of physics. If other universes exist, then it's of course also possible that they harbor intelligent life. The idea of a multiverse builds on something called inflation theory. At the very beginning of the universe, it underwent a brief period of rapid expansion called inflation. Our universe stopped inflating 14 billion years ago, but inflation may not have ended everywhere at the same time, according to cosmologist Helling Deng, who spoke with Live Science. He further explained that inflation may have ended in some regions and continued in others, and that it may still continue today. In distant regions where inflation continues, there could be an ever-expanding sea of universes. And as I mentioned before, each one would have its own space objects and laws of physics. This could help to explain properties of space that scientists don't currently understand based on the known laws of physics, such as dark matter. The multiverse theory gets rather complicated. In simple terms, the strongest evidence that there is one is the fact that intelligent life exists, and that we're capable of making cosmological observations. In the words of research scientist McCullen Sandora, the properties of our universe that can support life would not likely be present in the case of just one random universe having been created. In other words, it seems more likely that ours is one of many. Otherwise, life would be improbable. It's a lot to think about, and many scientists aren't sold on the idea of a multiverse. Some of them have said that they might be more open to it if hard physical evidence of it were found. Still, others think it's entirely possible, or perhaps even likely. How do supermassive black holes form? Black holes are regions of density with a massive gravitational pull that sucks in everything around them. Anything that comes within a certain distance of one will be totally devoured. This point of no return is known as an event horizon, and not even light can escape after it's entered. It explains why we can't see black holes, which also makes them incredibly difficult to study. The biggest black holes in the universe are billions of times the size of our sun. Known as supermassive black holes, scientists know very little about them. How they form and how they grow so big are mysteries for the most part. And while experts believe that there is a supermassive black hole at the center of almost every large galaxy, they don't know how this arrangement came to be. A standard black hole forms when a dying star explodes as a supernova and then collapses in on itself. But it doesn't accrete or suck in surrounding material at a high enough rate for any of them to have grown into supermassive black holes, since the first stars died hundreds of millions of years ago. The enigma deepened for scientists when they realized that these strange space objects already existed during the universe's infancy. So how did they grow when the universe was just a baby? Where did they get all that energy from? Supermassive black holes are clearly linked with the formation of galaxies, and learning more about how they are created could help scientists better understand this connection. Cosmic rays. The Earth is routinely bombarded from all directions by high-energy particles from outer space, called cosmic rays, which travel at nearly the speed of light. Some cosmic rays contain the most energetic particles ever observed in nature. Most of the time, the atmosphere protects us from them. Astronauts and aircraft crew members are exposed to higher radiation levels due to the presence of cosmic rays high up in the stratosphere. Thankfully, the risks still aren't very high. The same can't always be said for electronics, however. Once in a while, a cosmic ray strikes a device that's orbiting the Earth and causes serious damage to it. The high-energy particles interfere with the electronics system and can cause it to crash. Researchers are still learning about cosmic rays. One of their goals is to better understand the effects that these fast-moving particles have on electronics. Thankfully, it's rare for a cosmic ray to strike a device, but it would still come in handy to know more about the dynamics behind these interactions and what, if anything, can be done to prevent or fix the problems they cause. For starters, scientists don't even know what causes cosmic rays. They've put forth various theories for the possible source of these high-energy particles that are being catapulted through space, including a powerful cosmic explosion, colliding galaxies, and black holes consuming stars. But for now, the mystery endures. Mystery roar. Most people think of space as a dark, empty, and quiet place. This makes sense since most of space is a vacuum, meaning that sound waves can't travel through it. But radio waves can travel through space, and while they are not the same thing as sound, they are electromagnetic, meaning they fall on the low-frequency end of the light spectrum and are detectable and measurable. Stars, quasars, galaxies, and other space objects all emit radio waves. Even the Milky Way lets out a static hiss, but these sounds aren't very well understood by scientists, and some are stranger than others. For example, in 2009, researchers detected a cosmic noise that was much louder than they expected it to be. They have no idea what caused it, other than something far off in the distant reaches of the universe. The team picked up the signal using a balloon-borne instrument that was launched in 2006 as part of a mission to detect heat left over from the first generation of stars. It reached an altitude of around 120,000 feet, where it measured the unexpected roar, instead of the faint signals that scientists expected. It was 6 times brighter or louder than the combined emissions of all the universe's known radio signals. They ruled out the possibilities that the radio waves came from primordial stars, gases at the edge of our galaxy, other radio galaxies, and several other potential sources. But that didn't bring the team any closer to figuring out the mystery roar's origins, and they still don't know what it is today. How will the universe end? Scientists once thought that the universe could live on forever, but it seems more and more likely that it'll end at some point. There are different theories for how this could happen. Most are based on Einstein's theory of general relativity. One theory, known as the Big Crunch, suggests that our expanding universe will eventually stop growing, reverse course, and collapse into itself. It's essentially the opposite of the Big Bang. In fact, after a big crunch happens, another Big Bang would happen, and a new universe would be formed. Just like the one we're living in, it would expand until a certain point, experience another big crunch, and so on, in an infinite cycle of death and rebirth. A more recent theory, called the Big Freeze, proposes that the universe will continue to drift apart like it is now, until galaxies and stars stop forming. All the stars will die, and the night sky will go completely dark, as black holes devour everything around them. When all is said and done, no traces of heat will exist. These are just 2 of the multiple ideas scientists have put forth about how the universe might meet its eventual death. It's a scary thought, but luckily it won't happen during our lifetime. In fact, researchers estimate that a big freeze would happen trillions of years into the future, long after the Earth is gone. Thanks for watching! If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe. See you next time!